The Eastern Mediterranean was one of the oldest places where civilization placed its roots, and for millennia it was a bustling point of activity, as the main crossroads by land between the Far East, the Old Western world, and Egypt, as well as the larger African continent. So today we'll go through a quick tour of but a tiny fraction of the vast and marvelous monetary history of this region. A place so old and venerable, its millennia of history influenced all aspects of the money minted there. Welcome to the Levant. You need to be talking about a very special place once you notice that the history of its coinage, being the very first coins created around 600 BC, representative of but a small part of its total time frame. The region of the Levant would create a very unique flavor to its monetary history due to the intense melting pot it was. The modern terminology of Levant stipulates the region bordered by the north, by the southeastern end of modern-day Turkey, by the east by the Fertile Crescent and the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and by the south by the Sinai Peninsula. But we need to consider that historically, regions beyond these arbitrary borders did indeed influence its culture and coinage, either through direct invasion, simple trade, or by the slow spread of culture through word of mouth and tradition. Probably the best way to illustrate that is to actually look at some coins. So let's get to it. The likely first true empire to use precious metals in coin form, the Achaemenid Empire, had the entire Levantine region under its control, making this silver coin, the siglos, likely the first official coin to circulate widely in the region. This particular piece was struck under King Darius I or Xerxes I between 500 and 585 BC. The reverse does not feature any designs, instead a mere ink sponge to attest for the coin's purity all the way to its core. The obverse is a bold image of the king advancing right, carrying a spear and a bow, showing himself as a warrior figure. Another interesting point about this particular coin are the two punch marks on the left of the king. Could these have been an earlier banker's mark to attest this coin was of good silver? Maybe it was a customs mark, validating this coin to circulate on other regions. I love seeing countermarks on coins. Shows this particular piece was used and circulated widely more than 2,500 years ago instead of just being left in a pot. And one does not need to look at many of the reliefs sculpted and carved by the Achaemenids to notice the clear stylistic connection between the king on the coin and the official imagery of him, from the headgear to the robes. It's all there represented. As the Greeks took over and Alexander's successor kingdoms spread Hellenistic power through the region, the Seleucid Empire took control of the Levant. And on an effort to appease and maybe somehow convince the locals they were adequate leaders, a lot of effort was put on amalgamating the image to local aspects and iconography, from the biggest coins to the tiniest local civic pieces. For this next coin, we head over to probably the most important city of the region on a geopolitical sense. The great city of Antioch was one of the biggest urban centers of antiquity. To support the internal economy of the city, the Seleucid monarchs came up with a series of small bronze denominations meant for internal circulation. And some of them had this curious flange shape with indentations for reasons we still aren't sure, but let's take a look at it. This coin was struck under the reign of Antiochus VI, around 144 BC. On the obverse, we see the king's head, but notice the crown made out of sun rays emanating from his head. This is called a radiated crown, and it's a clear allusion to the sun deities and the sun worshipping that was very common in the region, being probably brought by older cults from Egypt and Mesopotamia, some of the bordering regions. The reverse features one of the Seleucids' royal animals, the elephant. Some species of elephants were a common sight on parts of the territory, and they were used on war extensively. We can also see the legends in Greek, which translate to "Our glorious king, Antiochus Dionysos." Such a humble small coin amalgamating Greek, ancient Egyptian, and even ancient Mesopotamian iconography These small bronze coins hide a lot of secrets on them, and they are very lovely and fortunately affordable and numerous. With the fall of the Greek kingdoms, the power of Rome imposed itself in the region, and at first, the empire installed procurators on these newly captured provinces. One of these captured regions was called Judea. The most famous of these procurators was Pontius Pilate, who ruled Judea between 26 and 36 AD, and was responsible for the crucifixion of Christ. These procurators had the right to mint some coins, among them the pruta, known to us with its alternate name, the widow's mite, from the biblical story of the poor widow who donated all she had, just 2 of these, for the local temple, giving her all, and being praised by Jesus for a true image of charity. The prutas were really very marginal denominations. It was worth only half a quadrans, the smallest denomination the empire minted, and only multiples of them could really buy you anything. But Pilatus took the opportunity to make them a political tool, since they were so widespread, and a provocation to the local Jews. On the obverse, we see a bunch of wheat stalks, with the legends mentioning Julia Augusta, referring to Livia Drusilla, the mother of the ruling emperor of the time, Emperor Tiberius. The reverse features a symbolum, a certain type of Roman ceremonial cup. Remember, the Romans were polytheists. To feature a symbol of their religion of many gods on the coinage of Judea was a flagrant insult to the population. The legends read, Caesar Tiberius. It is entirely possible to assemble an entire collection just from Roman coins of the region, as their issues were very, very numerous. Not only the region was an economic hotspot, but also a constant powder keg for the Romans, as it always had powerful rivals to the east of the Levant, in the shape of the Parthians and Sassanians. And no sane soldier would fight a war if not paid with good silver, which leads us to our next coin, a denarius of Emperor Septimius Severus. As Severus quickly assembled his troops for a major military campaign against the Parthians, he had to establish auxiliary mints in the region to supplement the issue of money for payment of so many troops. One of these supplemental mints was located at Emesa, modern-day Homs, in Syria, where in year 195, this denarius was minted. On the obverse, we can see a very serious and almost upset bust of Septimius, with the legends Imperator Caesar Lucius Septimius Severus Pertinax Augustus Consul Duo. The reverse is pure imperial propaganda, trying to pass the impression that Septimius was a charitable man. We see grain stalks in the center, with 2 cornucopias, the horns of abundance around it, and the legends Felicitas Temporum, times of happiness. Quite an uplifting coin considering it was meant to pay a soldier that was about to invade and sack another kingdom. And if you think the coins minted to pay for soldiers were over, you would be mistaken. As the Parthian Empire was dissolved, a new threat, the Sassanians, took their place. During the 3rd century, very consistent minting of coins had to be maintained to keep the war machine in the area with sufficient men to just contain the threat. And apart from the denarius, another of the most common coins used in the area was the tetradrachma. First, a Greek denomination. It now had Roman icons and was issued by Roman emperors. This tetradrachma was minted under the reign of Philip I, also known as Philip the Arab, around 244 AD. We are unsure if these were minted in Rome and shipped to Antioch, minted in Antioch using dies made in Rome, or if coins of such style could be made directly in Antioch. The style of the piece is exactly the same as the other coins directly minted at the city of Rome. On the obverse, we see this very elegant and well-made bust of Philip, with the legends translating to Imperator Caesar Marcus Julius Philippus Augustus. The reverse features an eagle, easy symbol to recognize for Romans as the representation of Jupiter, and for Greeks as an allusion to Zeus, an unmistakable and easy to understand indication of pure imperial power, with the legends SC for Senato Consulto, or approved by the Senate, and the legends in Greek translating to Tribonicia Potestas, consul for the third time. The SRG, the lower part of the reverse, has the words Moneta Urbis, coin of the city, indicating it was minted at the local city mint. Which city, may it be Rome or Antioch, is still not fully understood. Next, we will keep on the military theme, and indeed we will continue around Antioch, but we will jump nearly 1,000 years in time. We are at the years following the First Great Crusade to retake the Holy Lands, and the city of Antioch now is the capital of a new Crusader state on the Levant, the Principality of Antioch. The Europeans of the 12th century mostly used the kind of silver penny, or denier, direct descendant from the Roman denarius, as their main monetary unit. Once they captured the Levantine regions, their system was brought to these lands, instituting what we call today Crusader coinage. This denier was minted between 1163 and 1201, under the reign of Bohemond III, and yes, it does not have the artistic quality of earlier Roman coins, but look how fascinating our little friend here in the obverse is. We have a little Crusader soldier, with a small mail coif around his face, and a helmet with a nasal guard, exactly like the soldiers of the time, from what we see from contemporary imagery. The legends are very simple. Boa Mundus, Bohemond. The reverse mentions the name of the issuing city, Antiochia, and the Crusader cross is placed at the center, with a small crescent on the field, one of the symbols of the Crusader states. I am particularly in love with this piece. It's like a little relic from the Crusaders I was so fascinated with when I was a kid. But of course we need to remember that by that time, the Crusaders were invaders, and they were invading the territory of someone, obviously. Let's take a look at but one of the many Islamic states that dominated various parts of the region. This time, we're going to the extreme north of the Levant, the dominion of the Artukids, and not because they had any particular major involvement with the Crusades, but because I needed to show you their unique type of coinage. You see, Islamic coinage is on the vast majority devoid of any images due to limitations they have based on their religion. The Artukids, however, did not seem to have this issue and issued multiple coins with very interesting bust types and imagery on them. I've picked this one, minted around 1176 by Qutb al-Din il-Ghazi II, because it takes direct inspiration on two types of coins minted multiple centuries before. As you can see in this obverse, the image of the leader looking upwards is directly inspired on old Constantinian images of the Roman Emperor looking skywards with his diadem. If you want to go even further back in time, the Seleucid tetradrachma of Antiochus I also had the same kind of upwards gazing portrait. Their particular location was once part of the Roman Empire and of the Seleucid Empire, so maybe the mint officials charged with the design of the coin had an example of these coins on which to draw inspiration from? The possibility is fascinating. Over 1,000 years set these coins apart, and yet there they are, influencing one another. The reverse is much simpler. It is, in typical Islamic tradition, a claim to all of Il-Ghazi's ancestors. The monetary tradition of the Levant is so rich and so vast, I could have an entire YouTube channel dedicated entirely to the coinage of the region and have enough material for hundreds of videos. A collector interested in assembling a collection of coins of the region will definitely have a lot of ground to cover and a lot of pieces to get of the many states that ruled over the centuries. And for the ones that really like these kinds of coins, I have some good news for you. If you are watching this video before the 27th and 28th of February 2021, our sponsors at Savoca Coins will be organizing their 96th Blue Auction, where these and over 2,000 other great coins will be up for auction. Their Blue Auctions feature all kinds of coins, from Greek to Roman, medieval, and even some modern, and are a great opportunity to expand your collection in a more affordable way. So if you are interested, definitely check them out. And if you are watching this video after the auction date, don't worry, just head over to sevoca-coins.com and take a look, as another auction should definitely be happening soon. Have you got any coins from the Levant? I'm sure at least one coin from Antioch you should have. Let us know in the comments which one is your favorite, and don't forget to subscribe so we can keep bringing ancient coins to YouTube. I hope you all stay safe, and see you soon.